In an earlier chapter, I showed you how you can convert text to paths, and this is super helpful when you need to apply some special effect to the text. For example, maybe you want to stretch a single character out in some unnatural way that the font designer never intended. Or maybe you want to create a logo, making the characters in a font all intertwine. Whatever the case, there are two basic ways to convert text to outlines: converting a whole frame or converting just the selected text. Here, let me show you. I'm going to select this text frame inside my JavaCo magazine file, and I'm going to zoom in on it by pressing Command plus on the Mac or Control plus on Windows a few times, just to zoom in on it so we can see a little bit better. Now I can convert this whole text frame and all the text inside of it to outlines by choosing Type, Create Outlines. I just pull Create Outlines right out of the Type menu, and all the text in that text frame gets converted to outlines. It's a single object made up of multiple paths. That's a compound path. And we can see all those paths by switching to the Direct Select tool, which I'll just press A to jump to the Direct Selection tool. And I can see all of the points on those paths. It's no longer text. Once it's paths, I can do all kinds of weird things to it, of course. I could grab this little segment at the bottom of the F and just drag it down. And of course, because it's a path, it's an object, it's a frame, I can actually even put a picture into it if I want to. I'll go to the File menu, choose Place, and then I'll grab a picture, let's say Beans JPEG, and I'll click Open, and there you see the picture actually went inside of that frame. Here's the second way to convert text to outlines. I could double-click on this text inside the frame and select just that one word. Now that the one word is selected, I can choose from the Type menu, Create Outlines. Now only this word is selected. It's still an object made up of a compound path, and it looks like it's a separate object floating on the page, but it's actually not. It actually is automatically embedded or anchored in this text line as an inline frame. It's an anchored frame in that paragraph. This technique can be useful if you want to apply a special effect just to a single word or a range of text inside of a frame. For example, now that this is an object and not text, I can apply a transparency effect to it. I'll go to the Effects panel, and I will give it, let's say, an outer glow. I'll just use those default settings there, and we can see that this text has an outer glow around it while the rest of it doesn't, because it's a separate object. Now in both of these cases, whether we're converting the entire frame or just some text inside, InDesign actually deleted the original text. The original text is gone. It's just nowhere on my page. But if you need your original text for some reason, you can still maintain it. Let me scroll down over here, close the effects panel. We don't need that right now. I'm going to convert this whole frame to outlines, but instead of just choosing Create Outlines from the Type menu, I'm going to hold down the Option key or the Alt key on Windows. Now I get two objects. It maintains the original. Let me use the Selection key to just move this off to the side. I maintain the original text frame, and it converted all the text in that frame to outlines. Note that if there's more than one line in a text frame when you convert it, you actually get a group of separate objects. Each line is its own object, and they're grouped together. So I can go to the Object menu and choose Ungroup, and you can see that each line is now a separate object that was grouped together. Same thing goes with converting text inside of a text frame. I'll choose this word New, and instead of going to just choose Create Outlines, I'll hold down the Option or Alt key and then choose Create Outlines. And here it looks the same as it did before, but it actually did not delete the original, and I can use my Selection key to actually show you that. I'll drag the converted one off to the side, and you can see that the original text is still there, and in this case it did create a brand new object which has nothing to do with the original. It's not anchored at all into the original text. Now I want to be clear about something. I do not recommend that people convert a lot of their text to outlines. For example, if your printer tells you that you really should convert everything in your document to outlines, I suggest grilling them on exactly why they want that. It's typically a very bad practice to do that, and it's almost always unnecessary. And plus, if you do that, you may lose some really important stuff. For example, if you've used the Rule Above or Rule Below feature, well, those just disappear when you convert to outlines. You have to be very careful when creating outlines and proof your document carefully. It's much better to send a printer a PDF file with all the fonts embedded if you can. That's much better than converting to outlines. But for the occasional letter or word or some text you want to apply some kind of special effect to, sure, Create Outlines is great for that kind of thing.